Senator Lindsey Graham recently held a town hall to talk about his intention to vote for Neil Gorsuch. It turns out his constituents there are not exactly thrilled about that. Let's take a look.
We just finished the hearing this week. Judge Gorsuch was one of the finest people I think President Trump could have chosen. I am going to enthusiastically support him. And if the Democrats try to filibuster him, they will be making a huge mistake. To everybody that boos Judge Gorsuch, you're not persuading me at all. As a matter of fact, if you can't understand this is a qualified nominee, then you're not listening. If you don't understand that elections matter, then you don't understand America. And if you think that only liberals can get their nominees and a conservative can't, then you don't understand America. To all the people who beat on me for voting for Sotomayor and Kagan, here's what I told you. I didn't vote for Obama, but he won. And he had the right to pick qualified people. I didn't vote for Trump, but he won. And he's the right to pick qualified people. And I'm asking no more of the Democratic Party than I ask of myself. So I'm going to vote for Neil Gorsuch. And if they try to filibuster him, they will be turning the country upside down. It will be a sad day. And I will vote, if necessary, to change the rules.
That'll be a sad day. Sad. I'm sorry, I can't resist. So what's funny is that he just undercut his own case. He's like, we're gonna vote for Neil Gorsuch. We're gonna have meetings. You know why? It's because we're supposed to. We're supposed to. I gave all the meetings. I gave all the hearings to the Democrats. No, you didn't. You didn't give a hearing to Merrick Garland. And see, that's the thing, right? It doesn't matter if Neil Gorsuch is so qualified, which, of course, I don't think he's it. I don't think he is. His decisions, okay, let's just say I don't agree with him, okay? His decisions have been 100% pro-business, anti-abortion, and just very, very conservative. You're not supposed to be a conservative or a liberal judge. You're supposed to see the things on the merit. I don't think he can do that. Now, I don't agree with that. I some people do. Some people are like, yes, conservative judge. Let's approve him. Let's get him in. He's further right than Antonin Scalia. Yes, that's exactly what we want. Activist Supreme Court. Oh boy. Now, here's the thing, right? So, what I think some of these people in the audience, and you heard them, they were not happy. They were like, boo, especially at the mention of conservative. That was kind of funny. Look, I think the fact that some of these people disagree with is that it's not about Neil Gorsuch. It's the fact that this is a stolen Supreme Court seat. President Obama, as I keep saying, I got to keep harping on this point. President Obama had a constitutional duty to get a hearing, right? He appoints someone, that's his duty, and then the duty of the Congress is to give this particular nominee a hearing. They didn't get that. Not a vote in favor, by the way. Not a vote in favor, but at least a hearing. He didn't get that. Now, Graham's out there saying, hey, you know, I gave a hearing to Sotomayor and Kagan. I voted for them. So I'm not the problem here. Well, no, you're not exactly the problem here, but you're wrong. See, that's not the issue. It's not an issue of whether or not you voted for a liberal justice or not. It's the fact that your party as a whole blocked a presidential pick for 293 days. Come on. See, these two nominees, again, Sotomayor and Kagan obviously got a hearing, but Merrick Garland did not. And the fact that it's an election year doesn't mean the president isn't the president anymore. If that's your argument, then it's a terrible one. It's not a good argument. I mean, there's only a year left in, for example, President Trump's term, so we don't have to do our jobs. We're just going to sit there and we're going to avoid doing a hearing. We're going to block you. No, that's not how it works. You do have to do your jobs. And I would be saying the same thing if the situation were reversed. If it were, a Democratic president, if it were a Republican president, and it was the last year of his term, and the Democrats said, you know what, we're just not even going to give you a hearing whatsoever. We don't care what your justices have to say. We don't care who you put up. We're not even going to hear him out. Not even going to get to the vote. No, you have to have the hearing before you even have the vote. We're not even going to get to that. We're not even going to allow him to get a vote. We're just going to obstruct until we can win in the next election. I would be against that because, again, that is your constitutional duty. You're supposed to be able to hear them out. Whether or not you agree with them or disagree with them, I happen to disagree a lot with Merrick Garland. I didn't like the guy. I thought he was too conservative as well. But, again, the man deserved a hearing. And he did not get this hearing. So you have to do your jobs. That's why you're there. Now, either you, under law, you get a hearing. In this case, or Lindsey Graham, for example. In this case, Lindsey, you need to explain why you didn't do your job for 293 days. Why didn't you do your job? Or if you agree that you're not bound by the Constitution to give any presidential appointee to the Supreme Court a hearing, well, then the Democrats should just say, hey, let's see you. I'll see you in 293 days, buddy. We'll see you later. Now, there's part of this, and it wasn't shown in the clip, but part of this town hall, he quotes Joe Biden in 1992. Now, Biden, obviously they named the Biden rule after him, said, hey, if, for example, if George W. Bush appoints a nominee into the summer before an election, for example, we shouldn't give him a consideration. We shouldn't consider him a hearing because, hey, it's an election here. It's going to be over politicized. For example, here's his quote. The president should follow the example of a majority of his predecessors and delay naming a replacement. If he goes forward before then, the Senate should wait to consider the nomination. Some will criticize this decision, and I say it was nothing more than an attempt to have a seat in the court in hopes that a Democrat will be permitted to fill it. But that would not be our intention. It would be our pragmatic conclusion that once the political season is underway, and it is, action on the Supreme Court nomination must be put off until after the election campaign is over. That is what's fair to the nominee and essential to the process. Otherwise, it seems to me that we will be in deep trouble as an institution. Now, a lot of right-wingers, conservatives have jumped on that and said, oh, see, Obama's trying to do what Joe Biden said you shouldn't do. Well, that's not exactly true. There's some context here. For one, at the time when Joe Biden was talking, there was no Supreme Court vacancy to fill. There was no nominee to consider, and the Senate never even took a vote to adopt a rule to delay the consideration of a nominee until after the election. So what they're saying, the Biden rule is not real. It doesn't exist. They never passed such a thing as Biden rule. It's not real. And furthermore, the whole intention behind it was to reduce the politicization of Supreme Court nominations. Now, unfortunately, everything is politicized these days, so we can't really get away from that. So that's a big problem in our system. Now, Biden also said after the speech that he'd consider one of George H.W. Bush's nominees if consulted. Hey, man, if the guy's like a moderate, if he's got some Republican views, he's got some, or conservative views, got some liberal views, and really he's more of somebody who actually wants to interpret the Constitution, then yeah, of course I'll give him a hearing. We're just saying that this is a matter of decorum. This is a matter of respecting the president's position, and of course his constitutional authority to appoint justices, and our constitutional authority to give them a hearing. It's not what the Republicans have played it out to be. So that's the problem here. Now, they didn't give him a hearing because, again, the Republicans, all they wanted to do was play politics. You think they actually thought they were going to win this? They think Donald Trump was going to win? Not a lot of them did. And then they got surprised. Now, the thing is, since it's so politicized, well, that's the very thing that Biden said shouldn't happen. That's the whole reason Biden didn't want somebody to be nominated during the election cycle. It's this partisanship. Well, nonetheless, what happened in the case of Scalia, he died in February of 2016. So, I mean, Biden said, well, if he tries to fill it in the summer while the election is fully underway, that is not good. That is not a nice thing to do. And we should advise against that. And if a president decides to do it, then we should consider not having a hearing depending on the kind of justice. See, there is some context here that unfortunately gets left out. And so that is a big problem here. And not at all what the Republicans have conflated this idea of being. And it's not the same as what Lindsey Graham was saying about the Biden rule. So there's your context here. Now, Lindsey Graham, by invoking the Biden rule, is justifying this action. Now, all things being even, Garland should have had a hearing. Plain and simple. I mean, there it is. It's boiled down to its simplest component. Merrick Garland should have got a hearing. He did not get a hearing. Simple as that. And because he didn't, the Republicans, and the whole basis of opposing this is the fact that the Republicans have stolen a seat and they're trying to fill it. And these people, the people in the crowd, they understand this. Because it turns out that Americans don't really like it when you try to steal and play political games. Doesn't matter who's doing it. People can smell bullshit from a mile away. And in this case, the bullshit was Lindsey Graham. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.